Iteration 76 by Jace Masters. Can you move your fingers? Gwen attempted to force her unwilling fingers to move, something she knew would be a difficult task at any given stage now. To her surprise, however, the appendages stretched open and folded closed a brief moment after she commanded them to. Elation sprung up within her. They actually moved. Good, the soft, disembodied voice continued. Now can you attempt something bigger? Try to stand, if you will. Might as well, Gwen scoffed. She hadn't been able to stand for months now. The disorder had progressed rapidly, taking away every bit of freedom muscle by muscle. When her fingers had become unwilling, she had nearly given up. What use was she if she couldn't even code anymore? The feminine voice continued. Please, we need to register the implant's capabilities. Revolutionary, the press had called it. A miracle in the making, the AI implant situated at the base of her skull, taking over where the brain's motor neurons had failed and adapting to needs within seconds, effectively growing a secondary supporting latticework to augment the ailing functions within the brain. Gwen had been tirelessly forging ahead in its development, and had discovered firsthand what it was capable of, and its limitations. All right then, she sighed as she prepared to stand. She placed her hands down on the wheelchair she had been bound to for months now and pushed down. At first she felt no response, the command not filtering through or something. But then a warmth passed through her as her arms began moving her up. It was slow going, muscular atrophy was still a thing, but she gradually lifted herself. Wow! The word had left her mouth before she'd realized. Am I really doing this? You are, Gwyneth, the voice confirmed. Please take care and use the railing. An absent-minded, yeah, was all Gwen produced, completely captivated by her newfound, or better yet, rediscovered ability. She commanded her leg to step out of the footplate it had rested on since she was placed in the wheelchair, and to her surprise, it obeyed her command after a brief moment. This was fantastic. She could already see herself back where she wanted to be, on the trampolines, jumping, feeling gravity lose its grip on her before falling back down to earth, the lurching of her stomach. Slowly now, Gwyneth. No need to rush anything. No need? Gwen said as she planted both of her feet down on the ground. I'll be the judge of that, thank you. Take care not to overburden yourself or the implant. We will need time to walk, yes. Gwen interrupted as she pushed herself up with all her strength. She felt light, lighter than she'd felt in a long time. Gravity was losing this one. She rose up, she felt her legs protested their use. She felt them. She actually felt them again. The tears that were already close to breaking surface tension before now flowed freely as she stood unaided, free, on her own two legs. The warm feeling spread throughout her entire body. She felt like she was waking up. A terrible dream had ended and she was back to who she had been before. The warmth, however, quickly turned to heat, and Gwen winced as it began enveloping her head. Why am I so hot? You're overtasking the implant, Gwyneth. The voice spoke in its usual warm and calm tone, unworried. Please sit down once more so we can disable it and diagnose. No, don't. Panic overtook Gwen as the thought of being helpless once again claimed her. Never again. You must sit, Gwyneth. The name's Gwen. I told you this. She sagged slightly, grasping the metal rails in front of her for support. Apologies, Gwyneth. I will attempt to adjust. The voice was unchanged, still warm, still calm. Don't you understand? Gwen's heavy head rested between her straining shoulders, tears still flowing freely. I don't want to go back to being nothing, to being stuck. Define being nothing. Some assistant this thing turned out to be. Never mind. The heat at the base of her skull turned to searing. She must have overlooked cooling. Of course it would need cooling with all of the simultaneous processes it needed to run. Stupid, she muttered to herself. She wasn't about to quit now, though, not when she was this close. A little pain was a small price to pay. Gwyneth, the implant is nearing the limits of its operating threshold. If you continue now, this may result in catastrophic failure, advising complete shutdown to prevent damage. No! Gwen realized she was sweating heavily. Initiate safety protocol Gamma in 10 seconds. Limit operating capacity to upper torso only. Initiating safety protocol Gamma as instructed. Please get situated. Gwen turned around, leaning heavily on the metal bar to her right. The wheelchair stood where she had abandoned it only moments before. She would have to go back, admit a temporary defeat, but this war was far from over. Stumbling, she reached for the armrest and leaned. She was still crying, but was unclear of the cause anymore. Whether it was the pain, the joy of standing again, or the thought of having to return to this damned wheelchair. As she turned to sit, she felt her legs give way. Half falling, she tumbled into the chair, her legs limply sliding across the floor as she did. She sat there for a long time, crying as the heat from her implant slowly faded to a dull glow. She was so close to perfecting her design now, so close, and yet it kept overheating again and again. Time to get back to work, she finally said to herself more than anyone. Law created for attempt number 76, Gwyneth. Would you like to begin attempt number 77? Gwen sighed. First, I have to adjust your parameters, it seems, and get you to stop calling me Gwyneth.